Hi everyone, my name is Laura Milligan and this is my weekly Facebook Live. I come to you live almost every Monday at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I was missing in action last week. We had a family vacation up in beautiful Traverse City, Michigan, and so I kind of laid low and just enjoyed being with my family and the beautiful area that we were in. It's just beautiful. If you've ever been to Michigan, to Traverse City in that area, you know what I'm talking about. So I am back today and anxious to get back to work and get caught up on all the things. And so if you're joining me today, thank you. If you are watching on the replay, thank you for watching as well. I appreciate all of you. Leave a comment. If you're watching live, just say hi now so I know you're here and that I'm in the right place. Let me just check here. And if you're watching on replay, just let me know that as well. And I love to hear from all of you. I read every comment that is posted during my lives, and it's always fun to hear from you. So I see some people. There's Myra. Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Becky. Thank you all for joining in. So I am going to go ahead and switch my camera view down. I have two cards that I'm going to make. And if you are a regular follower of mine, you know that every weekend, I send out cards, free tutorials for cards. There's usually, I don't know, 4, 5, or 6 cards. I have the photo, and then I have step-by-step tutorial. I provide these free to my followers. Anyone can subscribe. You just have to join my email list. And that's also how you find out about any special events I'm offering, classes, that sort of thing. And also sharing anything going on with Stampin' Up. So if you're not on my email list, you should be. And so the cards that I'm going to make today were inspired by 2 of the card tutorials I shared in my weekend inspiration. And I've totally changed, and they don't look anything like the samples that I shared with you, but I love the layouts, and so that's what I'm going to do today. I am featuring the Earthen Textures bundle and the paper and all the goodies that go with it. And so let me switch my camera view down and we can get started. Okay, so this, I'm going to draw your attention to this. This is my host code for the month, and anyone that orders through me with an online order, shops in my online store, using this host code, will receive a gift in the mail from me towards the end of the month or early the following month. And this month, my gift is going to be a surprise brand new embellishment from our holiday, well, I call it the holiday catalog. It's really called the September to December mini catalog now, but it has all the things about fall and Christmas. And you know what? I'm able to show you. Let me see if I can find a copy of my catalog just so I can show you the front. Hold on. I thought I had one here. Here we go. So this is the front of the mini catalog, September to December. Ordering starts on September 6th. Excuse me. I can only show you the front of the catalog now. That's a Stampin' Up rule. But what I can do, and I plan to go live sometime tomorrow. I'm not sure yet what the timing is going to be for this. I will let you know. But I am expecting today a big delivery from my wonderful UPS man. He is such a nice man. And so I thought maybe tomorrow I would go live and show you some of the things that I purchased, because as demonstrators, we are able to purchase things a month before customers. So when I show you these things tomorrow, I think you'll be really excited. I think this is an awesome catalog, and I found a lot of things to love in it. So I will be sharing that with you. Also, if you are a current customer of mine, you will be getting one of these either in the mail or in person. So watch for details on that. Okay. So let me first show you. So this is the Earthen Textures. It's called Earthen Elegance. That is the suite that I'm going to be using today. It's on page 70 of our catalog. And the suite, I always like to point this out. It is, let me hold this up so you can see it better. Item 161518. It's $74.25. It includes one of each of everything that you see on this page. So beautiful designer paper, which I will show you, stamp set, and then the coordinating bundle. the coordinating dies, which I have all that here. I'm going to show you in just one second, but I always like to refer to this. The nice thing about the Suite collection, because truly, most of the time, if you like something, you're going to want the paper that goes with it. You're going to want the dies. You're going to want this really fun twine. And you can do that. You can get all of that just by writing down this one number and ordering that. It makes it really easy. You do get the discounted bundled price when you do that as well. So let me show you the paper. And I know I just had it. Hold on. I think it's buried. Oh, here it is. Yep, there it is. So this is the Earthen Elegance paper sampler that I want to show you, and it is 12 by 12 paper, but let's see here. I'll just flip it over like that. It's really earthy. It has kind of like a pottery vibe to it. Love that. It has really good colors in it. Really fun. They're always better in person, right? And then this one and that on the back. So those are the patterns. You get 2 of each of these 12 by 12 sheets. And that is called Earthen Elegance. Okay. So I'm going to start with this layout. It's one of my favorites, and you have seen me do it before. But I've had it go in the card has opened in a different direction. So I'm going to show you this one because I think it's kind of fun. This is a little bit simple. And then I'm going to do another card that has a little bit more. It's like it's a stepped up card. Not like this one, but just different. So I'm starting with the regular size card base, 5.5 across, 8.5 inches tall. I'm going to score it at 4 1/4. Hi, Cookie. Elmira says, hello, sweet Charlie. You must have heard him barking. It never fails. He can be quiet all day, and then as soon as I go live, he has things to tell us, I guess. Okay, so I've scored this at 4 1/4. Now I'm going to turn this, and I am going to, let's see if I can turn my trimmer so you can see what I'm doing. I am just going to cut 1 inch from the bottom of the card up to the score line. And sometimes what I like to do, I'm just going to start here and just go down just right up to that score line like that. And then I'm going to flip this over and do the same thing. So I have I'm going to end up with 1 inch flaps on both sides of the card. Okay, so we have that. Then I'm going to take a piece of designer paper, and this, I've cut this in 6 by 6, but love this. It's like an ombre effect, and I thought that would be really pretty for this card. So I've cut, you can see how I've cut, this is 4 inches across by 4 3/4, and I specifically wanted to keep this ombre lighter pattern at the top. And then I'm going to cut, so let me show you this in case you want to do a screenshot or just remember this. It's 4 inches by 4 3/4 inches tall, and then I'm going to cut each end at 3/4 inches, so cutting 3/4 inches off of the top and the bottom. Let me turn this again. I'm going to cut 3/4 inches off the top. Just flip it around and do 3/4 inches off the bottom. So I end up with these 3 pieces. And I think I'm done with my paper trimmer for now. I'm going to use it on the other card. Okay. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to fold this and just grab my bone folder here and do just a quick little press there to get that scored really well. Okay, now I'm going to take my glue, and I think I haven't used it for a while. I've been on vacation. So I'm going to just put some glue on the back of each of these 1 inch flaps. See if I can get this going. You know what, I might have to use my pin because, yeah, that just kind of helps keep things moving. There we go. Put a little glue there, put a little glue there. Okay, and I'm going to just line this up with the edge, fold that down. Yeah, Charlie loves all my stamping friends. He grew up with them. I remember one year, the year we got him, I had a catalog kickoff and he was in our kitchen. He was not potty trained yet, so he had to stay in the kitchen, but everybody went out to say hi to him and meet him, and Charlie's got a lot of stamping friends. Okay, so this is the card base. It's going to open like this. You've probably seen me do a similar layout. I've done it with cardstock that's 4 1/4 by 11, so it would open from the bottom to the top, and I've had these strips, the little flaps going down this way, but this was just different. And like I said, this was a layout that I shared with you in my weekend inspiration. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is just attach this designer paper onto these flaps like that. So I'm going to use my glue. And these I'm just going to center. I love this pattern too. Really pretty. Okay. And even though the designer paper is separated by the pieces of cardstock that are showing through, you still get that ombre look, which I think is really fun. I like that. Okay. Put this on here. And that looks pretty good. Okay, so then it's going to open up just like that. And I do have an insert for the inside, and let me show you what I did. This is 3 3/8 inches by 4 inches, and this is going to be my inside panel. And so what I did, let me pull out the dies. So I used this die, and I had my little panel, and what I did was just laid this on here and ran it through my die cutting machine, because since I was, most of you know I love just plain white card bases. I use those almost all the time, but this one has the pretty peacock card base, and so I thought it would be fun to use the die, and then the negative is going to allow that pretty peacock to show through, and I just thought that was kind of a fun little look. So I'm going to go ahead and just attach this. I am going to put teeny tiny little dabs of glue on some of these little ends here. Let me get it flowing first. There we go. Just going to put a couple teeny little dots. I don't want it to show through, but it kind of sticks up, so I want to be sure that it is somewhat attached there. You know what, and I think I'm going to put one here too. Just a little dab there and there. Okay, just like that. And I'm going to put this, I'll center this. Like that. And give that a press, hold that down. And so I think it's really fun when you open the card and you see that. I think it's kind of a little surprise. All right, but we got to work on the front of our card, right? So let's see, I'm going to do a little bit of stamping. Let me show you. So the dies and the stamps, this is the bundle. There are some great dies in this. There are some of the dies that coordinate with the stamped images, some that are just standalone dies, like the one that I just cut. And the nice thing about what I just did, of course, is I ended up, I don't know where I put it, but I ended up with an extra white. When I cut this, of course, I had one of these white pieces die cut, and so I'm just saving that for another project. But there are the vases and some sticks. This is a really neat die to get like some background texture. It doesn't actually cut through, it just leaves an impression. That's really fun. The words are really good. You always know just what to do. Your thoughtfulness is much appreciated, with gratitude. You are proof there is good in the world, and thank you. And I love the font that they used for this. So I'm gonna use, let's see, I'm gonna take just a small little white. It's about a little bit over a ½ inch. It's probably 5/8 inches. And I am going to use, you always know just what to do, just what to say and do. Okay. And you know I like to mount my word stamps on a diagonal. Helps me get a good impression. I just need to move it towards me a little bit. Helps me get it straight too. That looks pretty good. All right. So then what I'm going to do is take my paper snips and just angle this edge here like that. I didn't do a lot of stamping on these cards today, and the only ink that I ended up using was the copper clay. All right, so now I'm going to take a panel. Just this could be a scrap piece. It doesn't have to be this big. I'm just using this because I'm going to be doing some other stamping today. But I'm going to go ahead and stamp that. And, oh, and I just realized you can't see that. Let me push this up here so you can see it better. Okay, so there's my pottery crock. I kept calling them vases when I was making videos with this set, but I think it's pottery. So I'm going to take this die and I'm going to cut this out. I'll run it through my embossing machine. And if you notice, I'm not sure if you can tell from the camera view, but this die is a teeny bit smaller than the stamped image. It's going to come up looking like that. All right. And this one is pretty simple, and that is all the stamping that I did. So let me set this aside. Now we're just going to put this together. This is one of my favorite dies. This is this large, let me get this off here. This large die, and it's not only does it score each one of the leaves, but you can sort of do like an accordion fold. And I love that because it adds some dimension. So I'm gonna just sort of fold this like this, just to get some dimension with it. Look how fun that is. Okay, so there we have that. I'm going to trim this stem off because I don't need it to be that long. That should be pretty good. Okay, then I'm going to take my Stampin' Seal and I'm going to just run a little bit of Stampin' Seal on the back, kind of towards the center. There we go. And I'm going to take this twine. This is part of the suite. It is called Natural Trim, I think. Wavy Trim. Wavy Trim. It's really fun, real earthy, and just fun. And so what I'm going to do is I'll tuck this in the back like that. And then I'm just going to wrap it around a couple times. I can get it on there straight. I think this trim just kind of makes the card too. It's just a fun little added detail. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that is secured with that Stampin' Seal, and I'm going to trim off the end. Oh my. This should not be that hard. There we go. Okay. Then I'm going to take some dimensionals and I'm going to put one at the top and one at the bottom. Yeah, isn't the trim fun, Myra? I agree. Really, really fun. So I'm just going to put a dimensional at the top and the bottom of my vase because the middle section is going to be popped up enough just from that trim that's back there. All right, so before I start adding my vase and my big fan, I'm just going to put this on here because everything's going to kind of go on top of that. So I'm going to just use my glue and attach this. Okay, This is going to go here, and it is going to go a little bit above this edge of this part, the center section, but it doesn't matter as long as you don't put adhesive up there. And really the only adhesive I used for this was just right there on the base, because I didn't want to flatten out the leaf. And so I'm just going to put that there. Isn't that pretty? I don't know if you can see the dimension with it folded like that, but I just think that is so pretty. And then the next thing I'll do is just put my vase on this. Let me move this down so I can see what I'm doing. Whoops. Okay, so we have that just like that, and adjust my trim a little bit. There we go. All right. And then what I want to do, of course, is just add some embellishment. And let's see, I have my neutrals sequins. If you placed an online order last month, this was my thank you gift, so you should have already received those in the mail. Those thank you gifts have already gone out, so you should have received yours in the mail. They're really fun. They are different, like metallics, and I'm going to use this dark color. I thought that looked pretty with this. And I'm just going to put one here, one here, like that. And so there's my card front. We'll open it up, and there you have the inside. And I like to add a little bit of sparkle sometimes to the inside of the card as well. So I'm going to go ahead and just put a couple of things there. Now you don't have a lot of room to write in this, but sometimes that's a good thing, maybe just thinking of you, whatever. But if you do need more space to write, you could just add another little panel here if you need more white space. So that is the card. And then what I thought, let me open my drawer here. I thought that, let's see. So I had this paper out, and so I thought, why not just add this to the flap of the envelope? I think that's always such a nice touch. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that real quickly. I'm just going to add my glue to the flap. It just lets people know that there's something special inside, and don't you think it's going to be the first thing they open when the mail is delivered? I know I always look and I'm hoping for a hand-stamped card when my mailman comes. So you're just going to do it like that. And then I'm going to take my paper snips and just trim right around the edge. You just snip that off. And then you're going to end up with a real pretty envelope. Whoops. Okay. So there you have the flap. The coordinates beautifully with your card. And so what do you think? I think it's a fun layout. It's something different. It's very easy to do. Just a little bit of extra work with your trimmer, and you are good to go. And the gems are, you should have received yours, Mary Jo. These are called Neutrals Adhesive Back Sequins. You should have received those by now. Okay, so there is my first card. Let me set that aside a minute. And I have one other card, but before I do that, I wanted to mention my class to go for August. Registration is open, and I did have an early bird registration, which has now closed, but you can still register for the class. You just won't get the early bird special, but this is a really fun, different, chic set of cards. There are 6 cards. I'm partnering again with Sherry, my Canadian demonstrator friend. This is a great class, and registration closes on August 14th. So if you haven't registered yet, be sure to do that. I've already had a great response. I think people are real excited about this. I know that when this bundle or suite was first released, when the new catalog came out, I'm pretty sure it's sold out. It was unavailable for a while, but it's available now, and I know that you will enjoy this class. All right, so my next card, and this was another one that was based on one of the tutorials that I sent out this week for my weekend inspiration. And let's see, I've got all my parts and pieces here. So the first thing I want to do is just show you a cut. Give me 1 second here to get organized. I'm going to clean things up so that I can find things. Okay. All right, so I am going to take my paper trimmer. You could also just use a ruler, but I'm going to show you what I did, how I cut this paper to, you can get 4 cards. What I'm going to do is I'll show you how you can use the 6x6 paper and get 4 pieces of designer paper for a card base. So what you're going to do is just cut, or just, I'm sorry, put a marking at 1.5 inches. I'm doing this with a pen so that you can see what I'm doing. Yeah, Myra, you're right. The big leaf reminds me of Egypt. It's like Cleopatra, like, you know, with the, like, almost like a fan they would fan her with. But I'm going to do this with a pen so that, let me just make sure I'm doing this right. Yeah, so that you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to try to turn my paper trimmer. So I'm going to make a mark at 1.5 inches. If you're doing this on like designer paper, which is what I used for the card, you could just use a pencil, but I just want to make sure you can see this. Now we're going to turn it. Find the 1.5, put another mark there. It's way bigger than I need, but I just want to make sure you all can see it. Do it again, 1.5. Whoops. Like that, and then turn it one more time at 1.5 and mark it at 1.5. So just remember 1.5, and you just keep turning your paper till you've got 1 mark on each side. Then what you're going to do is angle the paper. So here's one of my marks, and I'm going to find the mark that is adjacent to that one and line that up in my trimmer. Just like that. And I'm going to cut that. I'm going to open up my trimmer blade, and I'm going to turn this. And you want to kind of keep the paper together. It just makes it easier. So kind of line it up. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's okay. It'll still work. But there's my little mark there, and then here's the one down here. So I'm just going to hold this together and just slide down. And I end up with 4 identical pieces. Let me take my trimmer out of the way and I'll show you. So this is the piece that we're going to be using, and as you can see, there are 4. We now have 4, so I could make 4 of these cards or switch them up and make 4 different cards, but this is the designer paper now for 4 of those. And so for the card I'm going to make today, I use this pattern of designer paper, and so you can see those are the 4 pieces. I only need 1 for this one, so I will set these aside. You know, it would be fun too if you were doing something with like a plain cardstock color. You could emboss the panel and add just a little bit of texture. I'm all about adding texture, as you know. Okay, so I'm going to start. I have my basic white, thick basic white base. Okay, so we have that. I'm going to then take a panel of Granny Apple Green, and I'm going to put that down next. This panel is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So we'll go ahead and put that on the card front. My next panel is regular basic white. It is 4 by 5 1/4. So we'll go ahead, and you know what, before I attach this, I am going to go ahead and attach my designer paper. And what you remember, think about like the letter L, right? Like my name, Laura, and here's the L. The smaller cut is at the top, but that L shape is going to go down on the left-hand side. So I'm going to go ahead and just attach this. And before I put this on the card front, I'm going to stamp, and in case I make a boo-boo, I'm going to just attach this first. Okay, so I have that. I'm still using copper clay ink, and I am going to use With Gratitude, just the little stamp. And I'm going to turn this, I'm going to put this at an angle. So let me pull this forward so I can see what I'm doing. It's going to just go right there, like that. Okay. And then I just have some parts and pieces, so I can go ahead now. Oh, I have to do a little bit more stamping. Let me find my white piece. Okay, I'm going to set that aside a second. So I'm going to use copper clay ink. I'm still using copper clay ink, and I'm just going to do some stamping. I'm going to do this. And I'll tell you, I learned a trick a long time ago about any kind of image that has this tiny little line, like the stem there. When you're inking this up, you don't have to put any pressure down here. Just put your pressure here, and you'll get a nice line. Sometimes if you press too hard, you sort of get a blob at the end. So it's just a light touch pressure applied at this bigger part of the stamp. Maybe that'll help you. Okay, and then I'm going to do this. It reminds me of wheat. Okay, whoops, that didn't work out. Let me stamp it again. I didn't get it inked well enough. Maybe I didn't press well enough. There we go. Isn't that pretty? Okay. And then I'm going to die cut these. And I've already done that ahead of time. I just like to do that because I feel like it saves time. I'm assuming that you know how to use a die cutting machine. If you don't, please let me know. I'm happy to show you. I think most of you know, but like I said, if not, let me know. Okay, so there are dies that coordinate. This is the wheat, that die. And then this little skinnier one is going to be cut with this die. So we're going to cut those out. They're going to end up just like that. And then there's a really neat die, this one. And you can use this as part of the background. I've seen where people have cut several of them and put them together to create like a line. But I'm going to use this to add a little bit of interest to one of my vases. Let me put these back here. This piece is kind of fun. It's like handles for on the top of your pottery. I keep calling them vases, but they're really not. They're more like crocks or pottery. And then I used my queen, we'll say Cleopatra's fan here. Cut that in Granny Apple Green. I love the combination of Granny Apple Green with the gray granite, which is what is in this designer paper, and with the copper clay. Okay, then I have cut this vase, and so there are two vase dies. There's this one, which is the tall, skinny vase, that one. And then this one, which is the one that I used on my first card too. And I cut both of these out of designer paper. I love this designer paper. It's really cool. It looks like pottery that with like some of the color running down, the glaze or whatever. I think that looks so cool. Okay, so lots of parts and pieces on this one, but it's going to go together pretty quickly. Okay, so let's put that together. And I'm done, at least for now, with my ink. I'm going to close that up. I'm going to do a little stamping on the inside here in a minute. But, okay, I'm going to go ahead and just attach this like that. Yeah, so be sure to come back to watch on Facebook. I will let you know when I'm going to go live tomorrow. I never know when my UPS man is going to come. He's so nice, and he comes here a lot, trust me. And sometimes he comes, first thing in the morning. Sometimes it's like 8:30 at night. You just never know. I know they're busy. Okay, so the next thing, I'm going to take this tall pot and put that here, and I'm just going to glue this down flat. I am going to add 2 of my little die cuts. Yeah, so Jennifer says, what do you use to keep the die in place? I actually have used Post-it notes, and I have pretty good luck with that. You can also try washi tape, but I normally, Jennifer, maybe you need to put, I use a pretty big Post-it note when I do that, and just make sure that it's covered quite well. So these are going to go here like this. So I am going to first attach these. And I'm going to put a dimensional behind these because I want to give them some dimension. Okay. I'll just put a couple of those on there. And I think what I'm going to do is trim some of this because it's not going to show, and it'll make it, I think, easier to get that vase and everything in place. So I'm going to put that there like that. I have this next piece. I'm going to just overlap on that, and I pop this up as well. Again, I'm going to just kind of cut that stem off. We don't need that whole thing. So I'm going to put one dimensional behind that. Whoops. Kind of towards the top. So that's just going to be just like that. And you can see this has some dimension. You can even curl that up a little bit if you want. Okay, and then I'm going to just attach this flat, just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. Oops. Make sure my pot is straight. It's leaning a little bit. Whoops. There we go. Okay, I'm going to hold that down like that. Then I'm going to take my big Cleopatra's fan and I'm going to just fold this. It's almost like an accordion fold. And I just sort of do it like that just to get that added dimension, and that's going to be positioned right there. It's overlapping a little bit of the cover clay stamped images, but that's fine. I'm going to make this flat because this one I feel like already has enough dimension. Put that about right there, like that. And then I'm going to take this pot, and this one I am going to pop up. So we'll just have a little bit of that stem showing, and we'll go ahead and pop this up. I'll use my regular dimensionals. I think this is a really pretty pattern too on the back of this vase. Okay, so there's my pots, just like that. And then the only other thing we need to do is add some dimension, or I'm sorry, add some embellishments. So I'm going to bring in my embellishments, and for this one I used a couple different things. I'm going to use this copper color for the center. I don't know, I just feel like that is screaming for an embellishment right there, the way that's designed. Then I'm going to use some of these brown. I'm just going to sort of highlight the edge, put one there. And then I'll take a small one and I'll tuck that right there, like that. Okay. Oh, and you know what I forgot to do? I have this piece cut. I think I'll still be able to put it in there. So this, I love the addition of this to the vase. It's going to be kind of hard. I should have done this before I glued it down, but I'm going to just kind of cut this. Let's see if I can do this. Yeah. Just going to cut a little bit off of this here, like that, and I'll just tack that on there. And don't you think, I feel like it just adds something to the pot. It breaks up all the color. So let me go ahead. It's one of my favorite dies. I can't believe I forgot to put it on the card, but okay. hold on, I don't want to squeeze too hard. There we go. I'm afraid if I squeeze too hard, this glue is going to go all over. I'm just going to make sure I have these edges with a little bit of glue on them. And we'll just put that in place. Say maybe about right there. Okay, so there you go with that. I'm just going to give that a press. Okay, whoop. There we go. Okay, yeah, it does. It just adds something to it. Okay, so there you go. And then for the inside of the card, I have a little strip of the designer paper. And I'm going to just take this little image again, and let me get my copper clay ink. I'm going to stamp this. And this is one too where I'm just going to put pressure on the top of the stamp, just like that. And you know what, while I'm doing this, let me open my drawer here and pull out an envelope. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp that same image. Well, you know what? I think I'm going to do the wheat looking one because I really like that one. Yeah, I agree. I think it does add something to the pot. It just kind of breaks it up a little bit. So there's that. Now I can put my copper clay ink away. And I'm just going to add this little strip along the bottom. And then I do have one of these vases that I cut out of that paper, which I think looks so cool. It looks just like pottery. So if you like these two cards that I made today, I would just ask you to consider signing up for my online class. And there's still plenty of time to register. I believe the registration closes a week from today, which is August 14th. And the cards in the class are different than this. So it's 6 different card ideas in the class. And then these two, I've shared some other cards with this. I shared a real pretty one on my blog not too long ago. So there you have the inside of the card. Here is your matching envelope. I think this is such a pretty card. I love the combination of these colors. I especially love this pebbled path color with the granny apple green. I think that's so pretty. And let me just bring this other one in here as well. So we have pretty envelopes today, pretty cards. Let me know what you think. I hope that you have enjoyed these. I had fun. I had fun today. I hope you did. So anyway, let me just clean up here a little bit. So I just want to remind you about my class to go. The Earthen Textures card class to go. Registration closes, like I said, a week from today, August 14th at noon. And this is my host code. So if you use this host code this month, you will receive, as a thank you, with a $50 or more order, online order, you will receive a surprise embellishment from the new September to December. I just want to call it holiday catalog, but September to December mini catalog. I have something picked out, brand new, really cool. So that is your thank you gift for this month. So let me just switch my view back up, and thank you all so much for joining me today. It's good to be back. I hope you had a good week last week, and I look forward to seeing you sometime tomorrow. I'll share some of my pre-order, and as you know, it's always better when you see it in person. And I can show you some of the papers and the bundles and that sort of thing. So I look forward to that, and I look forward to seeing you next time. I'll be back next Monday with my normal Facebook Live. So thank you so much for joining me. And as always, I hope you have time to be creative today. Take care, my friends. Bye-bye.